Can you tell me exactly how Joan of Arc influenced French culture, French history, basically just how her actions impacted France and Europe overall?
Okay, so I can go back to the beginning. We're talking about the 100 Years' War. It was France against England, and at the time, England was getting territory. They were trying to expand basically, and when she was little, she started hearing voices telling her, guiding her and saying, you need to help your country protect France and all that. And then she met a little bit later, a few years later, again, England was invading several cities in France, and so she finally joined the French army, and she helped France win against England. The first city she freed was Orleans, before the name New Orleans in the United States, but it's named after that city in France. And then after the war was over, Charles IX became king. He was the Dauphin at the time, and he, after he took power, he didn't really help her. She was captured by the Burgundians, who were allied with the English, and then she stood trial in England. She was sent to England. She was imprisoned for a few months before she actually stood trial, and then they pretty much decided she was guilty of being a witch, and she was burned at the stake. She was 19 years old. She was really young, and that was the end of the story at the time. And then many years later, she was proclaimed a saint by the Catholic Church. And and I was talking about the nowadays. So she has a statue in Rouen, which is one of the other cities that she helped free, and that was also where she was from. That was where she was born. There's a statue there, but it's behind a big old, very, 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 very modern church. It's actually, it doesn't really go actually with the place. It's surrounded by older buildings. I've been there, I saw the statue actually, but it's surrounded by older buildings, and then right in the middle you have that very modern church, and it's not quite blending with the rest of it. And then you have to go around the church to actually see the statue because it's right where she was burned at the stake. So, I talked about the expression, now if you think you heard something, people can tell you, oh, you're hearing voices like Joan of Arc. It's kind of make fun of you. But anyways, she's one of the most influential historical figure that France has had. And I'm trying to remember what else I can tell you about Joan of Arc. I guess many churches you go to in France, sometimes inside they'll have some kind of statue or something that's referenced to Joan of Arc also, because there's a lot of Catholic churches in France, and so in some of the churches, not only in Rouen, where she was burnt, but in other churches throughout France, sometimes you'll see Joan of Arc figures and stuff like that because she's that important.
Are there any days commemorating her, or national holidays?
No, there's no national holiday. But I mean, all the children, learn about her in school. I mean, everybody knows who she is, what she's done for France. It's just that we didn't give her justice until many centuries later. She wasn't recognized as a hero until much later, after the 100 Years' War. So even though there's not a day that commemorates her, if you ask somebody in the street who's Joan of Arc, everybody's going to know who she is.